My golden child sister scheduled her wedding on my date on purpose. Our parents picked her, mom said, "You'll understand." I just nodded. 10 minutes before my vows, they rushed to my venue and went pale when they realized where it truly was. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when the person who's supposed to be your biggest cheerleader actually tries to steal your most important day? My own sister did exactly that, and it led to a wedding day nobody, especially my parents, ever saw coming. 6 months before I was set to walk down the aisle, my younger sister, Ashley, booked her wedding on the exact same date as mine, June 14th, 2025. The date I'd announced publicly at Christmas dinner months earlier. I confronted her, barely keeping my voice steady. She smiled, that cold, calculating smile, and told me the Jefferson Hotel only had that one Saturday left all year. A lie. I called. It was a lie. And when I turned to my own parents, hoping for some justice, my mother looked me dead in the eye and said, "Jenny, you'll understand. Ashley's wedding is the one people will talk about." And she was right. Oh, she was so right. Just not in the way she, or anyone, ever expected. Because 10 minutes before I walked down the aisle, my parents burst into my venue, late, breathless, still in their black tie outfits for Ashley's lavish reception. They clearly expected some sad, little ceremony. But the moment they stepped through those doors, my father's face drained of all color. My mother froze. They had absolutely no idea what kind of wedding I'd actually planned. It all started months before, the day Ashley announced her wedding date. My wedding date. I was in the PICU, second floor, West Wing, 7:15 p.m., elbow deep in a medication pass. 3 little lives depended on me. A 4-year-old post-op heart patient, a 7-year-old with meningitis, a 6-year-old drowning victim on a ventilator. My phone buzzed. Once. Twice. Then relentlessly. It was the family group chat, the one that usually stayed dead silent until Ashley had some news. You don't check texts when you're drawing up morphine. But the buzzing wouldn't stop. Finally, I finished the med pass, signed off the charts, and slipped into the supply room. 47 messages. I scrolled fast. Engagement photos. Ashley and Trevor, her hand draped just so, a massive diamond flashing. Congratulations flooded the screen. Then I saw it. June 14th, 2025. Wedding date. My hands went cold. Stone cold. June 14th, my date. The one I'd announced 8 months ago. The one I'd put a $2,500 deposit on back in September. I read it again. And again. My coworker, Kesha, poked her head in. "You good?" she asked, her brow furrowed. "Yeah," I managed, my voice feeling miles away. "Just family stuff." She studied my face. "You sure?" I nodded, already knowing I wasn't. "I need to recheck the morphine dose for bed 3. Can you double-check my math?" My hands were shaking too much to trust myself with a child's life. Driving home at 7 a.m., the city lights a blur. I replayed Christmas dinner. Ashley's face. The way she'd gone silent when I announced my date. That tight, artificial smile. For a second, I tried to convince myself. Maybe it was an honest mistake. Maybe she genuinely forgot. Maybe. No. That was a lie. I'd seen that look too many times before. When I got into nursing school, and her first choice college rejected her. When I bought my first car with my own money, and she had to beg Dad for help. When I told them about Sam, and she saw her carefully curated timeline slipping away. Ashley didn't forget. Ashley took. I pulled into the Ravenswood parking lot, stared at the one-bedroom Sam and I shared, all $1,650 a month of it. Small hours, modest life. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just staring, nothing registering. Sam was probably asleep, having just finished a brutal 48-hour shift at Engine 78. We were 2 ships passing in the night, bound by the understanding that our work meant more than a perfect schedule. My mind drifted to Mia, a 6-year-old I'd cared for 3 years ago. Leukemia, septic shock. She'd arrived in the PICU on a Tuesday night in October 2021, literally dying. I remembered one specific night, 3:47 a.m. Her oxygen sets plummeted, 82, 79, 75. The respiratory therapist was in another code, 2 floors down. For 20 agonizing minutes, I manually bagged Mia, squeezing air into her tiny lungs, watching the monitor, whispering to her even though she was sedated. Come on, sweetheart. Stay with me. Your mom needs you. Your dad needs you. I need you to fight. Her mother stood beside me, gripping my free hand, so hard my fingers went numb. Please, she begged, tears streaming. Please don't let her die. I didn't. Mia survived. 11 months of brutal treatment, then remission, then recovery. Her parents never, ever forgot. I'd spent my whole life shrinking, making myself smaller so Ashley could shine brighter. Giving up space, giving up attention, giving up the front row at family dinners, holiday photos, birthday celebrations. But that night, staring at nothing in my car, I was done. I was done shrinking. I finally got out of the car, dragged myself upstairs. Sam was asleep on the couch, still in his CFD t-shirt, remote clutched in his hand. I sat next to him, gently touched his shoulder. He blinked awake, groggy. Hey, you okay? He murmured. Ashley booked her wedding on our date, I said, my voice flat. He sat up, instantly alert. What? June 14th. Our date. She announced it in the group chat. He trailed off, looking at me, his eyes sharp. That's not an accident. No, I said. It's not. So what are you going to do? I looked at him. This man who'd run into burning buildings for 14 years. Who understood what it meant to run toward the fire while everyone else ran away. The man who'd never once asked me to be anything other than exactly who I was. I'm keeping our date, I said, my voice finding its strength. And I'm getting married exactly where we planned. A small smile touched his lips. Good, he said, squeezing my hand. Then let's make it count. Let me take you back a bit, to Christmas 2024. My parents' townhouse in Lincoln Park, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, worth almost $1 million. My father's car dealerships had been very good to them. The whole family was there, gathered around the prime rib, crystal glasses clinking. My mother had been cooking since dawn. Rosemary, garlic, butter. The house smelled like money and privilege. Ashley arrived first, of course, with Trevor. Goldman Sachs. Investment banking. $240,000 base salary. That number was dropped within 7 minutes. Naturally. How's work, Trevor? My father beamed. Busy, he said, radiating that finance guy confidence that came from knowing his degree opened doors most people couldn't even see. We just closed a $12 million deal. My mother practically purred. That sounds impressive. And Ashley, ever so casual, added, his parents are helping with the down payment for a condo. They're being so generous. My father nodded approvingly. That's smart. Building equity young. I caught Sam's eye across the room. He was leaning against the bookshelf, drink in hand, just watching. He gave me a small, knowing smile. Sam had only met my parents 3 times. They were always polite, always distant. The questions never went deeper than pension plans and benefits. When he'd tell a story about saving someone from a burning building, my father would nod. That's good work. Steady work. Steady. Like Sam was just a reliable appliance. Dinners always went the same way. Ashley and Trevor got the first servings. Then my parents. Then Sam and me. So, Ashley, my mother would say, how's work, sweetheart? Ashley, radiating success, would launch into her $380K quarter, her oncology drug sales, her President's Club trip to Cabo. You deserve it, my mother would coo. I'd just pick at my potatoes. Sam's hand would find my knee under the table, a gentle squeeze. Finally, my Aunt Carol, the only one who ever really saw me, would ask, what about you, Jenny? How's the hospital? Busy, I'd say. Lots of RSV, high census. My mother would nod. That sounds hard, honey. 3 seconds of silence. Then my father would pivot directly to Trevor. So, Trevor, what do you think about the market? Just like that, I was gone. Erased. You want to leave early? Sam whispered. I shook my head. Not yet. I waited until dessert. My mother's famous apple pie, vanilla ice cream melting on top. I put down my fork. Sam and I have an announcement, I said, my voice a little shaky. My mother looked up, almost surprised. I held up my hand. The simple, elegant white gold band, the small diamond, caught the candlelight. Perfect. We're engaged. My mother blinked, then leaned forward, scrutinizing the ring. Well, congratulations, sweetheart, she said, taking my hand, tilting it in the light. It's lovely. Small but lovely. Small. The word landed like a stone in my stomach. Sam had saved $400 a month for 8 months. $3,200. He'd gone to 3 different jewelers to find this ring, one that the jeweler swore looked bigger than it was. Because he wanted me to have something beautiful. When did this happen? My father asked flatly. September, Sam said. I proposed at Montrose Beach at sunrise. How romantic! Aunt Carol exclaimed, genuinely. Ashley's smile was thin, razor sharp. When's the big day? She asked, her eyes never leaving mine. June 14th, 2025, I said, holding her gaze. We've already put down a deposit. I watched her face. Something flickered, a tightening in her jaw, a flash of something ugly. Then it was smoothed over, buried under a practiced smile. June, she murmured slowly. That's so soon. 9 months, I countered. Plenty of time. We're keeping it simple. About 180 guests. Where are you having it? Trevor asked. I hesitated. I wasn't ready to tell them. Not yet. We've booked a venue, I said. I'll send details once everything's finalized. My mother pivoted so fast, I almost got whiplash. And how are things with you too, Ashley? Ashley, already primed, launched into a story about their recent Napa trip, 5-star hotel, paid for by Trevor's parents. I watched my mother laugh, my father lean in, asking follow-up questions, engaged. Sam caught my eye again, a silent question in his raised eyebrows. I just shrugged. We both knew how this worked. After dinner, as people drifted to the living room, Ashley excused herself. Just checking on the dessert plates, she chirped. She was gone for 12 minutes. When she came back, her eyes were too bright, too focused. She sat beside Trevor, her hand on his knee, laughing a little too loudly at one of my uncle's jokes. Driving home that night, Sam said, your sister looked hungry. For what? I asked, staring out at the blurred streetlights. I don't know, he said. But I don't think it was pie. She's always wanted what I have, I said quietly. Sam glanced at me. You think she's going to do something? I didn't know, but deep down I did. I just didn't know how utterly devastating it would be. Let me give you some background on my family. Ashley has always been the golden child, not because she's inherently smarter or kinder or better, but because she succeeds in the way my parents understand success: money, status, visible achievement. She's a senior specialty pharmaceutical sales rep, raking in $180,000 a year, drives an Audi Q5, lives in a Lincoln Park condo with exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows. Her Instagram, 250,000 followers. Every brunch, every outfit, every bonus, every staged moment with Trevor, it's all content. My mother comments on every single photo. I, on the other hand, make $68,000 a year. My paid-off 2019 Honda Civic is my pride and joy. I share a 1-bedroom in Ravenswood with Sam, paying $1,650 a month. My Instagram has 300 followers, mostly coworkers and high school friends. I post twice a year, maybe. At family dinners, the conversation always bent toward Ashley. Her latest sales quarter, her new designer bag, her weekend in Michigan. My parents would lean in when she talked. They'd ask follow-up questions. They'd beam. When I talked about work, my mother would just say, "That sounds hard, honey." And then someone would change the subject. It's been this way for years. On my 16th birthday, March 2009, my parents gave me a 2004 Honda Accord. 15 years old, 130,000 miles, manual transmission, check engine light permanently on. My father handed me the keys. "It'll teach you responsibility, Jenny. You'll have to maintain it yourself." I genuinely said thank you. I needed it to get to my part-time job, to get to school, to get anywhere. 11 months later, for Ashley's 16th birthday, a brand new 2010 Volkswagen Jetta. Automatic, heated seats, satellite radio. My parents co-signed the loan. Sure, but they made the $4,500 down payment. At her birthday dinner, my father raised his glass. To Ashley, our little girl. We're so proud of the woman you're becoming. No one had made a toast at mine. College graduation, May 2015. I walked across the stage at UIC, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I'd worked 20 hours a week, took out loans, graduated with $38,000 in debt. My parents came, took photos, took me to Olive Garden. We're proud of you, my mother said. Nursing is such a stable career. Stable. That word again. A year later, Ashley graduated from DePaul with a communications degree. My parents had paid for her $32,000 a year for 4 years, $128,000, debt-free. They threw her a catered party in the backyard for 70 people, with a giant congratulations, Ashley, banner. I overheard my mother telling a friend, Ashley already has 3 job offers. I always knew she'd do well. She's so driven. I was standing 10 feet away, holding a plate of pasta salad, still in my scrubs because I'd come straight from a shift. My mother never looked at me. Summer 2018. Family vacation. A rented lake house in Wisconsin. 4 bedrooms. Ashley got the master suite. King bed, private bath, lake view. I got the pull-out couch in the den. When I asked why, my mother said, Ashley needs her space, honey. You've always been fine with less. Every morning, my father would take Ashley out on the boat, just the 2 of them. Fishing, talking. He asked me once, You want to come, Jenny? I was doing the breakfast dishes. I'll stay and help Mom clean up, I said. That's my girl, my mother cooed. Always so helpful. Ashley would come back glowing, laughing, my father's arm around her. I'd watch from the kitchen window, my hands in sudsy water. That week, my uncle found me on the dock, reading. You doing okay, kiddo? He asked. Yeah, I said. Fine. He looked at me for a long moment. You know they're proud of you too, right? He paused. They don't know how to talk about what you do. Saving lives. That's big. That's scary. Ashley sells things. They understand that. I know, I said, but it still hurt. He patted my shoulder and left. I tried to read, but the words blurred. Ashley's typical day. Wake up at 7:30. Peloton ride, 30 minutes. Post a sweaty selfie on Instagram. Hashtag morning grind, 2,000 likes by 9 a.m. Shower, makeup, hair, outfit coordinated, ready for a photo shoot. Every day was content. Meetings with doctors, client lunches, all on the company dime. Steak dinners, fancy wines. Home by 6. Dinner with Trevor or drinks with friends. Always documented. Hashtag date night at RPM Steak, 1,500 likes. Weekend trips to Napa, Nashville, Miami. Posted in real time. My mother commented on every single one. My parents called her every Sunday, hour-long conversations. They asked about work, about Trevor, about her life. They called me every 3 weeks. 15 minutes, maximum. How's work? Good. Okay. Well, we'll let you go. You're probably busy. My typical day. Wake up at 6 p.m. Night shift. Shower. Scrubs. Hair in a bun. No makeup. It'd just sweat off. Drive to the hospital, praying traffic isn't too bad. Badge in. PICU. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. 12 hours. 3 to 4 patients. Ventilators. 4 pumps. Medication drips. Vital signs every hour. Endless. Soul-crushing charting. 2 a.m. dinner from the vending machine. Turkey sandwich, bag of chips, coffee that tasted like burned rubber. Parents sleeping in recliners, next to their critically ill children. I'd bring them blankets, fresh coffee, reassurance. She's stable. I'm watching her closely. I'm not going anywhere. 7 a.m. Handoff report. Drive home. Sam will be leaving for his shift as I got back. A kiss in the doorway. Ships passing. Sleep until 2 p.m. Wake up. Eat. Pay bills. Grocery shop. Do it all again. No Instagram posts. No one comments. No one calls. But the 6-year-old in bed 3? She's breathing easier tonight because I titrated her oxygen just right. That has to be enough. Most days it is. Thanksgiving 2023. I requested the day off 6 weeks in advance. Submitted the form October 10th. November 1st, the schedule posted. I was on. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Thanksgiving night into Friday morning. I called my supervisor. I requested off. I pleaded. I haven't had Thanksgiving with my family in 3 years. I know, Jenny. I'm sorry. Sarah called out. Her daughter's sick. You're the only one with PICU experience who can cover. What about? Everyone else is new. I need someone who can handle it if things go bad. So I worked. That night, we had a triple admission. Car accident on I-94. A family of 4. 2 kids came to us. A 7-year-old boy with head trauma, possible skull fracture, and a 4-year-old girl with internal bleeding needing emergency surgery. Their parents stood in the hallway, covered in blood, the father repeating, "We were just going to my sister's house. Just dinner. Just dinner." I stayed with those kids all night. The boy stabilized around midnight. The girl made it through surgery, came back to us at 2 a.m. I monitored her every 15 minutes. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. A group text. Family photos from Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone around the table, smiling, turkey, stuffing, pies. My mother's text. Missing Jenny. But we understand work comes first for her. The subtext screamed, Ashley would never miss Thanksgiving. Ashley knows what matters. Ashley has priorities. I was standing at a bedside, adjusting a ventilator. A 4-year-old was alive because I was there instead of eating pie. At 11:45 p.m., I ate a vending machine turkey sandwich. 99 cents. Dry bread, processed meat. It stuck in my throat. At 2:37 a.m., the girl's mother hugged me, tears streaming. "You saved her. You saved my baby." I went home at 7:03 a.m. Sam had saved me a plate. Cold turkey, mashed potatoes. He worked his shift too. We ate together in silence. My mother called 3 days later. 40 minutes. 38 of those minutes were about Ashley's new promotion. She asked about my Thanksgiving once. "Was it busy?" "Yeah," I said. "Well, you're so dedicated." That was it. I stopped expecting equal treatment somewhere around 2019. I stopped hoping they'd notice around 2021. By the time Sam proposed, I'd made peace with it. Or so I thought. Turns out there's a difference between accepting your parents will always love your sister more and watching them actively choose her wedding over yours. One is resignation. The other is pure betrayal. I met Sam 5 years ago during an apartment fire in Wicker Park. An 8-year-old girl with smoke inhalation. Sam was on the medic unit that brought her in. I was her nurse. At 3 a.m., standing outside the PICU, he said, "You're really good at this." I said, "So are you." We started talking. Coffee. More coffee. He understood the 24-hour shifts, the missed holidays, the weight of keeping people alive. My parents met him twice, briefly. Polite, distant. After he proposed, I called them. My mother's first question, "How big is the ring?" "It's perfect," I said. "I'm sure it's lovely," she replied. "Ashley's boyfriend is in finance." "Did she tell you?" The call lasted 23 minutes. 15 of those were about Ashley and Trevor. When I hung up, Sam asked, "Do they ever actually hear you?" "Not in a long time," I admitted. Then came January 18th, 2025, 2:38 p.m. I was restocking supply carts in the PICU when my phone buzzed. Family group chat. 47 unread messages. "Ashley, we're engaged." I scrolled through the explosion of congratulations. Then I saw it. "Ashley, and we're so excited. Wedding date, June 14th, 2025. The Jefferson Hotel had one Saturday open all year, and we grabbed it. Can't wait to celebrate with everyone." My hands went cold again. I typed slowly. "Ashley, that's my date." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Ashley, oh, I thought yours was just tentative." Tentative? I'd announced it publicly at Christmas. Deposit already paid. Me? I put down a deposit in September. You were at the dinner when I announced it. "Ashley, I know, but you never sent official save the dates, so I thought maybe you were still figuring things out. The Jefferson only had this one date available. We had to jump on it." My mother chimed in. "I'm sure you two can work this out." I walked out of the break room, found an empty patient room, and called Ashley directly. She answered on the 3rd ring. "You need to change your date," I said, no preamble. "Jenny, I can't just unbook the Jefferson. Do you know how hard it is to get? You got engaged 3 weeks ago. 21 days, actually. I've been planning for 4 months. A pause. When she spoke again, her voice had an ugly edge. "Maybe you should have picked a more flexible venue." "A more flexible? Ashley, you did this on purpose. That's ridiculous." "Is it?" "You sat at that table at Christmas. You heard me say June 14th. You looked me in the eye. I don't remember every detail of every conversation, Jenny. I'm sorry if there's a conflict, but I'm not changing my date. We've already put down $15,000. I put down $2,500 in September." "Well," her voice went cold. I guess that's the difference between our budgets. The line went dead. Figure it out, she'd said. Then she hung up. I called my parents that night. My father answered. I explained everything. The timeline, the deposit, the deliberate theft. Nobody stole anything, he said dismissively. It's just a conflict. A conflict she created on purpose. My mother got on the line. Honey, I know this is frustrating. Frustrating. She stole my wedding date. Don't be so dramatic, my father scoffed. You're both our daughters. We're not taking sides. You don't have to take sides. I cried, my voice breaking. Just tell her to pick another date. Silence. Then my mother's voice, gentle and devastating. Jenny, sweetheart, Ashley's wedding is important for the whole family. Trevor's parents are very well connected. Your father's business. We have opportunities here. You have to understand the bigger picture. The bigger picture where I don't count. That's not what I'm saying. Of course you count, but you have to be realistic. Ashley's wedding is the one people will talk about. Business contacts. Social opportunities. You'll understand when you're older. I'm 3 years older than Ashley. So what am I supposed to do? I asked, my hand shaking. Pick another date, my father said, as if it was that simple. It's just a date, Jenny. Don't make this about you. My hands were trembling, adrenaline coursing through me. It is about me. It's my wedding. You've always been so independent, my mother said, almost defensively. You don't need us the way Ashley does. I hung up. Sam found me on the couch an hour later. He didn't ask what happened. He just sat beside me. You don't have to prove anything to them, he said quietly. I'm not trying to prove anything anymore, I whispered. I'm just done begging to be seen. 3 days of agonizing silence. Then January 21st, I saw Ashley's Instagram story. Photos from a venue tour, the Jefferson Hotel. Tag location, #blessed. That was the moment. The exact moment I stopped asking for their approval. I emailed our wedding planner, confirmed everything. Locked in the date, June 14th. No changes. If they wanted to miss it, they'd miss everything that mattered. February through May was a masterclass in dismissal. The family group chat became Ashley's wedding headquarters. Menu tastings, dress fittings, band selections, floral arrangements, 400 messages about her big day. When I posted a tiny detail about my wedding, 2 responses. My Aunt Carol's thumbs up emoji. My cousin's nice. Ashley posted a photo of her dress. Vera Wong, $6,200. My parents paid for it in full, then threw a shopping party with a mimosa brunch. A week later, my mother called me. Honey, I want to help with your dress, she said, oh so sweetly. I know money's tight for you. I already bought mine, I said. Oh, how much was it? I'm sure it's lovely. Simple is very elegant. She assumed I'd bought something cheap. My dress cost $2,400. I'd paid for it myself, but I let her think what she wanted. In March, the RSVPs started coming in. 68 people received invitations to both weddings, mutual family, and friends who had to choose. 61 chose Ashley. 7 chose me. My Aunt Carol emailed, Sweetie, we'd love to come to yours, but we already committed to Ashley's, and it's black tie. We bought outfits. You understand? I understood. My cousin Bryce chose mine. He texted privately. For what it's worth, this whole thing is messed up. In April, Ashley posted in the group chat, Are you doing a church ceremony or just City Hall? Neither, I replied. Ooh, mysterious, she snarked. Let me guess. Park permit. I didn't answer. My mother called, frantic. Jenny, where is your wedding? I'd like to coordinate with the family. It's handled, I said. But where? You'll see on the day. Let them guess. They'd know soon enough. Oh, they would know. Here's what they didn't know. Back in fall 2021, when Mia Hartley, 6 years old, was admitted to the PICU with acute lymphoblastic leukemia and septic shock, dying, I was her primary nurse. 8 12-hour shifts in a row. Approved overtime. I stayed with that family through the worst nights of their lives. Mia's father, Michael, sat beside her bed at 3 a.m. hollow-eyed. Will she make it? He'd asked. I'm going to do everything I can, I told him, and I'm not going anywhere. She pulled through. 11 months of treatment, remission, recovery. At discharge, Mia's mother, Susan hugged me tight. "We'll never forget what you did," she choked out. In early 2022, the Hartleys announced a $12 million donation to Children's Memorial Hospital. A new wing, the Brennan Family Pavilion, family overnight rooms, a healing garden, a conference center, and a ballroom. The Foundation Ballroom. Floor-to-ceiling glass, overlooking the Chicago skyline. Capacity for 200. Donor-funded, state-of-the-art AV, built for fundraising galas, milestone ceremonies, and private events. It opened in May 2024. That March, I received an email from Michael Hartley. "The pavilion opens in May. We'd be honored if you'd attend the dedication." "And Jenny," he wrote, "the ballroom is available for private events. If you ever need it, it's yours." When Sam proposed in September, I already knew exactly where we get married. I booked it September 16th, $2,500 deposit, standard nonprofit rate. The Hartleys waived the premium fees. I told almost no one. My guest list, 180 people. PICA colleagues, first responders, fire department brass, hospital board members, donor families, city officials, families of children I'd cared for, children who'd survived. And Sam's family. These were people who knew what mattered. The Hospital Foundation offered to live-stream the ceremony for off-shift medical staff, for distant patient families, for donors who couldn't attend. I said yes. And one more thing. Instead of a registry, we set up a fundraiser. All donations would go to the Pediatric Cancer Research Fund. The hospital agreed to match the first $50,000. If people were going to watch, we'd make it count for something. I didn't tell my family any of this. When my mother asked where the wedding was, I said it was handled. When Ashley made her snarky comments, I stayed quiet. They assumed I was having some small, sad ceremony. Maybe a hospital chapel, maybe a park. Something cheap, something beneath them. Let them think that. June 14th would clarify everything. Ashley's wedding, meanwhile, was a production. The Jefferson Hotel, Grand Ballroom, Gold Coast. 500 guests. A $120,000 budget. My parents contributed $45,000, stretching their finances, dipping into savings. Black tie ceremony at 5 p.m. Cocktail hour at 6:15. Reception at 7. 8 varieties of past appetizers. Surf and turf. A champagne tower with 300 glasses. Viennese dessert hour. A 12-piece orchestra. Celebrity wedding planner, Diane Rothman, an $18,000 fee. The rehearsal dinner, Gibson Steakhouse, 60 people, $18,000. I wasn't invited. I wasn't in the wedding party. My mother posted an album that night, celebrating our beautiful daughter's last days as a single woman. 340 likes. I was working a PICA night shift. I saw the post at 2 a.m. during a med pass. I didn't comment. The week before the wedding, my mother called. "We'll be there, honey," she chirped. "We'll come a little early. Stay for the ceremony, then head to Ashley's. We have to be at the Jefferson by 5 for photos. Do you understand?" I understood completely. Their plan, arrive at my venue around 2 p.m. My ceremony started at 2. Stay until 2:45. Then drive to the Jefferson Hotel, 12 miles, 25 minutes without traffic. Arrive by 5. Plenty of buffer time. 45 minutes at my wedding. Just long enough to say they came. "I understand," I said. "I knew you would," my mother replied. "You've always been so reasonable." June 14th, wedding day. I woke up at 6 a.m. in a hotel suite 2 blocks from the venue, a complimentary room, thanks to the foundation. Sam stayed at the firehouse, a tradition. My bridesmaids arrived at 7 a.m. 4 PICA nurses, Kesha, Rachel, Donna, Lynn, and Sam's sister, Bridget. Coffee, breakfast. No chaos. Just calm. "How you feeling?" Kesha asked. "Ready," I said. "Your family coming?" Rachel ventured. "We'll see." I told her. My phone had 0 texts from my parents or Ashley. At 8 a.m., the hair and makeup artist arrived, donated by a grateful family whose son I'd cared for in 2023. By 11 a.m., I was dressed. The dress, ivory silk crepe, cap sleeves, chapel train. Simple, elegant, expensive. Not that my mother would ever know. At 11:30 a.m., Mia Hartley arrived with her parents. She was 8 now, 2 years cancer-free. She wore a white flower girl dress and a pink ribbon in her hair. Pediatric cancer awareness. "You look like a princess," she exclaimed. I knelt down. You look like a hero, I whispered, because she was. 1:23 p.m. The venue coordinator, Lauren, texted, "Guests arriving. Everything's perfect." Deep breath. By 1 p.m., the street outside the pavilion was lined with fire trucks. 28 firefighters from Engine 78 and Truck 23, in their dress uniforms, Class A's, formed an honor guard. An ABC 7 News van was parked nearby. Michelle Torres, community reporter. The hospital had invited them. Heart of the City segment. First wedding at the new pavilion. First responders marrying a PICA nurse. Fundraiser angle. Local feel-good story. By 1:30, the ballroom was filling. Fire Chief Daniel Martinez. Alderman Jeffrey Washington. Dr. Catherine Reynolds, hospital CEO. Board members. Donor families. PICO colleagues. Families of children I'd saved. Michael and Susan Hartley sat in the third row. 180 chairs. 165 filled by 145. My parents' seats, third row center, not front row, were still empty. At 1:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Mom, so sorry, honey. Traffic terrible. They're by 2:15 latest." Translation: they left late, prioritized getting ready for Ashley's black tie event, completely underestimated the time. I didn't reply. At 1:53 I heard it, a car door slamming in the driveway. They arrived at 2:08 p.m., 8 minutes after the ceremony started. I was in the bridal suite with my father's replacement, Fire Chief Martinez. He was walking me down the aisle. He'd saved my life 6 years ago, carried me out of a burning apartment building. I went back to work the next night. That's who I wanted beside me. Through the window, I watched their Cadillac pull up. My father, in his tuxedo for Ashley's wedding, not mine, handed the keys to the valet. The line of luxury vehicles, Mercedes, Lexus, Tesla, was suddenly dwarfed by the fire chief's department vehicle and the 8 firefighters in dress uniforms forming an honor guard outside the ballroom entrance. A news camera. My mother stepped out, floor-length gown, hair and makeup perfect. She looked utterly confused. They walked toward the entrance. I couldn't see their faces, but I knew the moment they stepped into the lobby. Donor plaques gleaming on the walls, the Hartley name prominent. Foundation ballroom in gold lettering. Then they walked through those doors. Lauren, my coordinator, told me later. They froze. 180 people seated. Ceremony already in progress. Father Ollie, the fire department chaplain, speaking at the altar. The ballroom, floor-to-ceiling glass, the Chicago skyline a breathtaking backdrop. White chairs with elegant covers. A string quartet. Professional lighting. The front rows, Fire Chief Martinez's empty seat, Alderman Washington, Dr. Reynolds, the Hartleys. A news camera silently recording in the corner. My mother's mouth opened, but no sound came out. My father went pale. Lauren approached them, polite but firm. "Mr. and Mrs. Curry, we saved you seats. Third row center. Not front row." They sat. My father scanned the room, his face the color of old paper. My mother's hands shook as she opened the program. Wedding of Jenny Curry and Samuel Brennan. Foundation ballroom. Benefiting Pediatric Cancer Research Fund. She looked at my father. He looked at the guests. Recognition dawning. That was the city alderman. The one he tried to network with 2 years ago. That was the fire chief. That was... oh God. That was Dr. Reynolds, the hospital CEO, whose face had been in the news last month. My mother's phone was in her lap, silent, but I found out later. Ashley had texted her at 1:50 p.m. "Ashley, where are you, Mom?" "Mom, at Jenny's, leaving soon." "Ashley, everyone here is watching her live stream." At 2:14 p.m., the music changed. Pachelbel's canon. Everyone stood. The bridesmaids walked, one by one, down the aisle lined with candles and white roses. Then Mia, 8 years old, cancer survivor, pink ribbon, white dress, scattering petals. People were openly crying. Many knew her story, knew what she'd survived, knew who had stayed with her family through the worst nights. My parents didn't know yet. Then me. Fire Chief Martinez offered his arm. "Ready, kiddo?" "More than ever," I said. We walked. I saw my mother's face, the shock, the shame, the confusion. I saw my father's frozen horror. I kept my eyes forward. Sam was waiting. He took my hand. His grip was steady. Father Ollie began. We gather in a place of healing, he said, to celebrate two healers. He explained the venue, the Hartley donation, the grateful family, the pavilion built because of one nurse's heart. I didn't look at my parents, but I felt them, frozen, silent, realizing. At 2:17 p.m., we said our vows. Sam went first. Jenny, you've seen me at 3 a.m., covered in someone else's blood, and you never asked me to be anything other than exactly who I am. You've held my hand through the worst calls. You've celebrated the saves. You're my home, my partner, my best choice. I promise to be yours every single day for the rest of my life. My turn. My voice didn't shake. Sam, you understand what it means to run toward the fire. You've never asked me to choose between the people I love and the people I serve. You've stood beside me through every missed holiday, every late night, every hard loss. You see me, all of me, and you've never asked me to be smaller or quieter or different. I choose you today, tomorrow, always. Rings. Father Ollie smiled. I now pronounce you husband and wife. We kissed. The room erupted. Applause, genuine, warm, joyful. We walked back down the aisle. My parents stood, clapping mechanically, faces pale. We exited to the terrace for photos. The reception began immediately. Same room. Chairs turned. Table set. By 3 p.m., we were back inside. Lauren approached my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Curry, will you be staying for the reception? We have you at table 8. Not the family table. Table 8, near the back. My mother looked at my father. We have to leave soon for Ashley's, she whispered. I know, he said. They sat. At 3:08 p.m., Michael Hartley stood to give a toast. The room quieted. Mia sat on his lap. 3 years ago, he began. Our daughter was dying. He told their story. Septic shock. The PICU. The night shifts. The nurse who stayed. This nurse, Jenny, didn't just save Mia's life. She gave us hope when we had none. She sat with us at 3 a.m. She held our hands. She fought for our daughter like she was her own. His voice cracked. When people ask why we donated $12 million to this hospital, I show them a picture of Jenny holding Mia's hand. That's why. Today, we're honored to witness her joy in the space her compassion built. He raised his glass. The room erupted in applause. A 90-second standing ovation. My mother's face was white. My father stared at his hands. $12 million. Inspired by their daughter. The one they dismissed. Fire Chief Martinez stood next. I've known Sam Brennan for 14 years, he said. One of the finest firefighters in the city. And Jenny, he looked at me, a warm smile. I carried her out of a burning building 6 years ago. Lincoln Park apartment fire. She thanked me by going back to work the next night, saving kids. He looked at all of us. These two are Chicago's backbone. The people who run toward the fire while everyone else runs away. Let's raise a glass to them. To Jenny and Sam, the room roared. My father's face. He hadn't known I'd nearly died. I'd never told them. They'd never asked. At 3:45 p.m., my mother's phone buzzed. I didn't see the text, but I learned later. It was Bryce, my cousin, at Ashley's wedding. Bryce. Half the people here are watching Jenny's live stream on their phones. This is wild. The live stream. The hospital foundation had set it up. Professional cameras, audio feed, posted on their website. 892 concurrent viewers at that moment. By 4 p.m., it would hit 1,240. People at Ashley's cocktail hour, the one that started early at 4 p.m., were on their phones, watching my wedding instead of celebrating hers. At 4:15 p.m., my mother approached me. I was talking to Dr. Reynolds and Alderman Washington. Sweetheart, my mother said quietly, we need to leave soon for Ashley's. I turned, looked at her. Calm, steady. Of course, I said. Thank you for coming. Her face crumpled slightly. We'll call you tomorrow. Sure, I said. She waited, like she wanted me to beg her to stay, to acknowledge how gracious she was being. I turned back to the alderman. She walked away. At 4:20 p.m., my parents left. Before the cake cutting. Before the first dance. Before the fundraiser total was announced. They slipped out. Alderman Washington watched them go. He knew my father. They'd met at a dealership event. As my father passed, the alderman gave a cold, barely polite nod. Leaving early, George? My father didn't answer. They left. The reception continued. Cake cutting at 4:45. First dance at 5:10. Toast from PICO colleagues, from families of children who'd survived, from firefighters who'd worked with Sam for over a decade. At 6:30 p.m., the fundraiser total was announced. $145,000 from in-person guests. $40,000 from online donations via the live stream. Total, $185,000. The hospital matched the first $50,000. Grand total, $235,000 for pediatric cancer research. The room stood, applauded, cried. The live stream was archived. Over the next week, it would be viewed 8,500 times. Comments poured in. This is what a wedding should be. Crying at my desk watching this. The world needs more people like Jenny and Sam. At Ashley's wedding, people were distracted. Phones out. Comparing. Her Instagram post that night, uploaded at 11 p.m., a photo of her and Trevor cutting their cake. 890 likes. Her usual posts got over 2,000. The comments mentioned me. Just watched your sister's live stream. So beautiful. Your sister raised $185,000 at her wedding for pediatric cancer research. Incredible. Ashley didn't respond to those comments. The next morning, June 15th, I woke up to 7 missed calls from my mother. 12 texts from Ashley. I listened to Ashley's voicemail first. Her voice was shaking. Furious. You did this on purpose. You knew people would compare. You made my day about you. You ruined everything. Everyone was on their phones watching your little hospital thing instead of celebrating me. I will never forgive you for this. Never. For minutes of pure, unadulterated rage. I deleted it. My mother's texts were gentler, but just as desperate. Mom, we need to talk. Mom, can we meet? Mom, Jenny, please call me. Mom, we didn't know. We didn't know it was like that. I didn't respond. Not that day. Sam and I went to breakfast, walked along the lake, ignored our phones. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. I really am. I finally agreed to meet them 2 weeks later. June 28th. A Starbucks on Armitage, neutral territory. Sam came with me. My parents arrived looking tired. My mother's makeup couldn't hide the shadows under her eyes. My father wore a polo shirt, casual, like this was just coffee. We sat. We didn't know, Jenny. My mother started, her voice weak. You never told us where. You never asked. I shot back. My father leaned forward. You made us look like fools. I stared at him, disbelief flooding me. I didn't make you do anything. You chose Ashley. You chose wrong. That's not fair. You sat in that ballroom for 40 minutes, I said, my voice rising. You stayed long enough to not look completely heartless. That's the math you did. You saw the fire chief, the alderman, the hospital CEO, the news camera. You saw $235,000 raised for dying children. And you still left early to go to Ashley's champagne tower. My mother's eyes filled with tears. We had committed. You committed to me first. I cut her off. 8 months before Ashley even got engaged. But the second she wanted my date, you picked her. You told me her wedding was the one people would talk about. You were right. They're talking. Just not the way you wanted. Silence. We made a mistake. My father said quietly, brokenly. You made a choice, I countered. You've been making it for years. My mother reached across the table. I pulled back. I'm not cutting you off, I said, my voice firm, but I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not accepting scraps. I'm not pretending it's okay to be treated like the backup child. We never. You did. You do. Ashley makes more money, so she matters more. She posts on Instagram, so she's successful. I saved children's lives, but that's not impressive because I don't drive an Audi. My father opened his mouth, then closed it. If you want to be part of my life going forward, I said, here's what I need. Real acknowledgement. Not we didn't know. You didn't care to know. Family therapy. Time. And proof that things have changed. I'm not doing holidays where I'm an afterthought. I'm not doing phone calls where you spend 40 minutes on Ashley and 5 on me. I'm done. I stood. Therapy first, I said. Then we'll see. Sam and I left. My parents sat there, silent, defeated. 3 months passed. July, August, September. In mid-July, my father sent an email. 1,200 words. Specific acknowledgments. Apologies for specific moments. Thanksgiving 2023, the dress budget comment, the you'll understand line, the 45-minute wedding appearance. He and my mother had started therapy, individual sessions, and couples counseling. In early September, my mother called. We talked for 40 minutes. She asked about my life, my job, my honeymoon, Sam's new position. She didn't mention Ashley once. I'm learning things, she said in therapy, about why I favored her. I said she was easier. I said you never needed me. My mother's voice was quiet, full of regret. I needed you, I said. I just stopped showing it. More silence. Can we meet? She asked. Just us. I agreed. September 18th, same Starbucks. 1 hour. Boundaries still firm. But the door was cracked open. It wasn't fixed. But maybe, just maybe, it wasn't completely broken. 3 months after the wedding, I was back at work. Pick a night shift. Mia Hartley came in for a routine checkup. All clear. Cancer-free. Thriving. She hugged me in the hallway. Are you happy, Nurse Jenny? She asked, her big eyes earnest. I smiled. Yes, sweetheart. I really am. Her father mentioned the pavilion was hosting another wedding next month. A couple who'd met in the hospital, both cancer survivors. The circle of impact was widening. My chosen family, pick a staff, first responders, the families of children I'd saved, they surrounded Sam and me. That was the family that chose us back. My parents were trying. Slowly. Imperfectly. But trying. Ashley hadn't spoken to me since that furious voicemail. I didn't chase her. Some doors close. Others open. You learn to tell the difference. My mother was right about one thing. People did talk about June 14th, 2025. They talked about the wedding that raised $235,000 for dying children. They talked about the firefighter and the PICU nurse who turned their ceremony into a statement of values. They talked about the family that showed up late and left early and what that said about what they valued. Ashley's wedding was beautiful, expensive, perfectly executed. Mine was smaller, simpler, and it mattered. My parents chose image. I chose substance. And one of us slept very well that night. The other had to face 500 guests who'd rather watch my wedding on their phones than celebrate hers. So, tell me, have you ever been measured by your salary instead of your service? By what you display instead of what you give? By the car you drive instead of the lives you touch? What did you choose in the end? Because that choice, that's the only one that truly stays with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.